know, Val, like you're first African-American to play in the NHL, right? So I'm the youngest one here. So I could probably tell a story about every single one of you guys. To see you guys all play pro hockey before me was something that really drove me and, you know, made me the player that, you know, I was.
One of the things that I've always loved about, you know, getting to look up to some of y'all and playing with and against some of you is the opportunities we get to actually like celebrate Black excellence, celebrate what we do. We all have moments where we admire and look up to Grant. There's moments with Val and what like you mean for us. But one of my biggest honors is getting like to celebrate you at times as well for what you've just meant and done for us.
For me, like growing up, like I learned about Willie O'Ree and I like, you know, took my time and like learned everyone who looked like me. So for me, like, to finally meet you was unbelievable.
I felt the same way
So
about
it's
meeting
like,
you. That's the first time I'd met you since you've been playing pro hockey, and I watched you when you first came in, and I was thoroughly impressed with your style, and you could actually score, weren't afraid to go into the corners, weren't afraid to grab the biggest guy on the ice and go with him, you know, heart of a lion.
When I first got called up, Chris Stewart had just got traded to the team, so I became good buddies with him, and he's obviously boys with Simmer, and so we started going on All-Star break together. And, you know, I knew him in the league, you know, obviously he put up points, but, you know, would fight anybody. I can't remember, where was the first All-Star break we went to? Was it Bahamas?
Yeah.
And this guy shows up to the beach, and he is like a toothpick. And I'm like, there's no way this is Simmer. Oh, this guy can't weigh more than 50 pounds. I'm looking at him, and I was like, you know, if he's fighting all these guys, like I can fight anybody then. And I just always admired that about him. You know, he's not a big guy, but man, his heart is bigger than anybody's out there.
I'll actually double down on that as well. And one thing that Chris Stewart said to me, referring to you, was, it's like, Simmer's like, the guy's a lion, man. He's a lion, all-star. He and Grant are the only two Black NHL all-star MVPs of an all-star game. So the guy has plenty of skill, plenty of heart, great character, and what makes him a good teammate. But then he's willing to do that. There's guys in the league who are a lot bigger than 180. Or whenever you first entered, I know you're bigger than that, but I'll definitely big you up for that too, Simmer. I always love that about you.
From my side, the non-hockey player, I mean, you know, Wayne coming from Scarborough, like Scarborough stand up, like, you know, it was a big deal for us. When you got drafted and when you came to the Leafs, like it was like a proud moment for us.
I have tremendous respect for every single one of you guys. You know,
Just for sticking it out.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, because a lot of people, you know, would have quit. And I think it's testament to us, you know, sitting here at this table today, you know, speaks volumes.
Well, the thing was, we wanted to inspire younger kids of color. We're here to make an equal playing ground for everyone. So if we can make an easier jump for them, where maybe we will have an equipment depot where, okay, you young guys, you don't have equipment, come on down, grab what you need, and once you're done with it, bring it back, because you know, there's going to be a kid that's going to be the same size that you are right now that's going to need that next year, and then we'll give you a new set.
I also think of like the next wave from like a Quentin Byfield and Akil Thomas's, and like seeing how nasty from the World Junior goals to these like top, you know, 3 NHL draft picks and like what their talent and skill is, and celebrating the next wave of young Black hockey players as well.
What's most exciting for me when you talk about the future of the game is you look at all these kids that are drafted in the first round in the last couple of drafts. That gets me excited because there's a lot of color on that screen. I was watching those drafts and thinking to myself, like, what's that next wave coming going to look like? And every single one of us had to have perhaps even more of a physicality to our game, fighting element to our game. And that's gone from the game virtually, right? So I'm excited to see what that next generation of players of color look like and what they're gonna do to change it. I think there's a massive shift coming because they're gonna be all gonna be goal scorers. They're all gonna be playmakers. They're all gonna be able to change what it looks like. As much as what we've done, what's coming to me is most exciting.
When, you know, we continue to look at and think of the different ways that the Black community and Black culture has had impact in hockey, it's not just in the men's game, it's also in the women's game. The legendary Angela James, who many of us here have known, and that's how it's inspired Soraya Tinker and Sarah Nurse and the younger generations still. One of the favorite things that I had experienced when the Maple Leafs hosted the All-Star game, we hosted a Future Stars showcase, and it was 14, 15-year-old AAA playing girls, a predominantly Black group, and the coaches were Angela James and Soraya Tinker and Vicky Sanahara.
That many kids of color on the ice at once is something that, you know, I would love to strive for. You know, I've never been in an environment where I'm on the ice with 25 other skaters like myself, right? That's pretty powerful. You know, just to see that, and the coaches to the young kids, They're seeing themselves in those coaches, right? So to me, that was powerful. I've never seen that.
Hockey looks a lot different. I can tell you that. Like Sarah Nurse has a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
And Tim Hortons.
so
like
cool.
how crazy is that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, could you imagine like having a doll or something of yourself? And for a black woman, that's even
Bigger, yeah.
even bigger, right? It's been amazing.
With all the women that are involved, starting with Blake Bolton, first female executive to work for the National Hockey League. I think they have a lot to bring to the game. There's some really, really good hockey players out there in the female age, and I think they get lost when the contact comes into play because we start to say, hey, whoa, they're hitting, we got to pull the girls out of the program. But these girls, some of these girls are tough. Like they can take it. You know.
That's an element that has continued to enhance the professional women's game as well. To your point, it's the same training regimen. They're elite athletes, they're professional athletes, and you eliminate the dangerous, open ice hits. But being able to allow these elite athlete women to physically engage, I totally feel it's also enhanced and helped market their league to the traditional male hockey fan.
I got 2 young daughters, and whether they want to play hockey or not, I think it's an amazing thing to see. I can say it for us all. We just want to be role models to where kids in this city will want to look up to us and they want to do what we can do, because if we've done it where we've come from and the things that we've gone through, anyone else who puts their mind to it can definitely accomplish the same goals.
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to teach them, right? So that you can be better than what we were.
Yeah.